Welcome to the Ask Chana series. All right, this is going to be a new series I'm going to try, so let me know how it works for you in the comments. And I'm going to take real questions from you all. So whether you sent something in the comments or you sent something on my IG, the handle's down below. I'm planning on taking real questions or even maybe things that come up in my sessions with my clients and expound upon them more in a video, because I find that is way more helpful than me just sitting here and trying to explain to you, this is what the nervous system does and this is somatic experiencing and blah, 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 blah. Using real life examples for things that people really experience in their real life is often really helpful, to help you feel like you are less alone and you're not crazy, but then also because they're real situation will help you get a sense of what it feels like to actually work through some of these things in real time and give you some new skills that you can try out on your own so that you can live the life that you've always wanted to live. So that's kind of my purpose. Right now I'm not so sure how often I'll do them, maybe once a month. That's kind of what I'm aiming for. But if folks really like them, I might do them more often. If it's not as popular, I'll do it less often, but I'm just trying something new. So please let me know in the comment section what your thoughts are when I do this. So I already kind of explained a little bit of the purpose of what the video is. And so what I really want is for the people watching, for you all who are watching, to start to understand some of these patterns that you have been carrying since childhood and walk through like what the nervous system is doing and then how you can start to change those patterns that you started off as protective and now cause great problems in your adult life. And that even as an adult, you might understand that the original environment is gone, but your body is still reacting as if the thing is happening here in the present. So if somebody becomes upset with you, you might find intense anxiety. Even if it's a small disagreement, your body might still be like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, right? Or you might feel like you're always over-explaining or second-guessing yourself. Even like messages from your parents might mess up your whole day, even though you're an adult and you have agency. And just remembering that your nervous system is responding to this earlier pattern that was learned. And so I really want to look through what those patterns are through a couple of different lenses. Attachment trauma, again, where emotional safety with caregivers was unpredictable or was absent. Child sexual abuse, where the child's physical boundaries were violated and the body learned that closeness and danger could exist at the same time. And then mother-daughter sexual abuse, where a mother violates her daughter's body, her privacy, and was treated as like her body just didn't belong to her. It belonged to her mom. And there's other forms of trauma that we learn, where our needs, our emotions, our safety, it didn't matter. So each episode will kind of take one real moment that one of you brings, and we'll look at what the nervous system learned, how that learning shows up in the adult life, and what begins, to change when someone starts to kind of heal some of these old patterns. I also want to add that many of the women that I work with directly in my private practice really struggle with, I kind of have an understanding of why I'm doing a thing, but I can't actually stop myself from doing the thing in the moment. So there's kind of this misconnection of, okay, intellectually I understand, but now my behavior is still I'm still behaving in the same way. And the framework I use to kind of talk about this is what I call the unprotected child. So when a child grows up in an environment where emotional safety, protection, or respect for boundaries is inconsistent or it's absent, the nervous system learns really quickly how to adapt and how to protect itself. So a child can't leave the environment. They can't fight their way out, and they definitely can't, flee their way out. So what do? They freeze, right? And it's a way of preserving survival while also maintaining connection to these people, unfortunately, who are responsible for taking care of you, but are also the ones who are harming you. So you get really adept at, and I just want to also name quickly that this is actually a normal response. When I was first learning, infant mental health, for example, one of the things that they talked about that I never thought about in this way, and so it really helped shape kind of my thinking and the work I do with my clients, even though they're adults, is that the relationship between parent and child, we're learning each other. The parent and the child are learning from each other. And so it's always interesting to me when people go, oh, my child is so manipulative. Okay, your child is not that, they're not that developmentally sophisticated. They cannot manipulate you. But what they do understand, because they have to for their survival, is they have to understand what's going to bring you close. Because for an infant whose primary survival relies on proximity to caregiver, how close is the caregiver to me, and are they meeting my needs consistently? Then I have to learn what's going to do that, right? So if I'm crying and crying and crying, and my parent, because they're overwhelmed, withdraws, what do I start to do? I learned that I'm not going to cry, because if I cry and cry and you go away, you're gone. So I stop crying, right? We talk about this with the learned helplessness. Conversely, if you have, and anybody who's ever worked with little ones can see this, if you have a baby who, especially if they smile early, but is, they smile and the parents, oh my God, you're smiling, and they smile back, and that's a reflex. The smile reflex comes around 2 months. That brings joy to the parent. And so the baby's going to smile more, because what? It brings the parent closer. It brings the parent becomes engaged. Does that mean the child is manipulative? Absolutely not. They're not sophisticated. But what they've done is they've learned by trial and error what brings the caregiver close. Same with the parent. A parent doesn't know what their child needs. They don't know that, I know a lot of folks are like, women, they know everything. They're so instinctual around babies. It's just that they have more time. Dads can do this as well, of learning what their baby's cues are. And so if you're around a baby long enough, you start to know what the hungry cry is versus when the cold cry is, right? You start to know the little things that your individual baby does to signal to you what the need is. And at first you're going to mess up. You're going to try the diaper change. You're going to try to rock. And the baby's going to cry. And then you're going to get the thing. Oh, they're just hungry. Oh, I understand now, my baby's hungry. Okay, now I have an association. You make this certain cry, or you do this thing with your mouth. I feed you, now you're satiated. So now it's like we've just learned together. That's all it is. That's literally what our neurons are doing all the time. And so that's in a healthy, dynamic where the parent's intention is to be attuned and responsive to their child. But when you have, parents who are distracted, they've got their own mental health stuff, substance abuse, their own trauma from past caregiving, right? All of that is part of their story that impacts how they show up when they need to be parents for you. And so some of that stuff gets messed up. And the wiring is still there, right? The normal, I do this to bring you closer, that dynamic is still there. It's very human. That's what we do. But now it's paired with some of this negative stuff. So if I cry and my caregiver goes away, but if I don't cry and they stay here, then what do? I stop crying. And what does that tell you? My needs don't matter, right? I might be crying because I'm cold, but I can't tell you that I'm upset because you can't handle me being upset, because me being upset causes you to go. And when I say it like that, a lot of my clients, they're like, oh my, what? Wow. Now obviously I'm going to pair it to their very unique experience. And that's the purpose of therapy, is to help kind of uncover what's going on for you individually. But that's why I wanted to start doing kind of an Ask Chana series, where you can ask some of your questions where you're like, wait, why do I do this thing? Because it sounds really simple when I'm like, oh, it's just like a childhood thing. Oh, your parents probably did this. Yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense. Now, what do I do about it, right? And so oftentimes, what you want to do in these situations is just slow the system down. And what you're going to be doing over time is unpairing some of these maladaptive behaviors, or intelligent adaptations that kept you safe when you were younger, but here in adults, in your adult life, it's causing you problems. So that's the purpose that's generally the purpose of this channel, is to help you understand that. But specifically, I want to just answer some more direct questions that I see, from the women that I work with, but also, you know, if you're watching this video or if you come from, you know, Instagram or something like that, or one of my Facebook groups, and I don't have a chance. I mean, I also answer questions in my Facebook group, so you can join. Again, description down below. I have 2 Facebook groups, one that's specifically for the unprotected child. So this is just general, any type of attachment trauma that you might have experienced, emotional neglect, narcissistic parents, things like that. So we're talking more generally about childhood trauma that's not sexual abuse related. You can join that group. The links are in the description. And every week I post, you know, a thread where people can ask questions, and then I pick one and I answer there. So that's also a space too if you want. And it's that one's a newer group, but my hope is to just have more community. And then another group that I've had for a couple of years, which is specifically for survivors of mother-daughter sexual abuse. I do the same thing. I answer one question. There's a weekly thread, and I answer a question there. And so my goal for those 2 groups is just for people to feel less alone and have some community. So if you want to join, please join those. And so I just want you to know that, like, understanding these reactions are really important so you can take away that shame and the blame. Because once we understand that these are like how these responses formed, then we can begin to work with the body differently, and you won't be judging yourself. You can you're slowing it down, you're tracking what's happening, and you're gonna start to have new experiences of what safety feels like in your body to override that old template. And so this process allows someone who once felt powerless in relationships to begin trusting their instincts, their ability to set boundaries, responding to others from like a grounded sense of like who they are. So if you recognize yourself in any of these experiences that we talk about in these series, you know, I want you to understand that you're not alone. Again, Facebook group is a good place, but also, you know, it can be worked through in therapy. So Ask Chana space is going to be a place where we're going to kind of slow these moments down. We're going to make sense of the nervous system, learn what healing can feel like. And so what I want you to do is just feel free to send me privately or here in the comments any of the questions that you have, and I will try to answer them all. With that, I hope you have a good rest of your day. Please comment and like and subscribe. And I look forward to doing more of these videos. So thank you.